you put new bed knives on your cutting unit and it's still cutting funny and you're driving yourself crazy and you can't figure out why. This little tip might help you out. I just took off of this unit. You can see they are pretty shot. All right, you can see how the groove there was just wearing in the reel. That's where the reel was ending, right there. When you took your bed knives off, okay, let's set that up there. On this particular unit, I had contact with this reel, was already making contact with this worn bed knife. Now, when you put your new bed knife on, which I laid it up here for now, I didn't tighten anything. This new bed knife is much thicker, okay? What most mechanics do, their mistake, or even homeowners, is they don't release in the tension on the bed knife bar in the back, okay? Depending on your unit, but this one has these adjustments on each side. All right, you should release the tension first so that you are able to put this bed knife on without the reel being super tight after you put it on. Hopefully I'm making sense, okay? But I'm going to show you an example. I did not release the tension off of this reel. I just took the old bed knife off and I had the new bed knife laying up there. Now, if this reel was already making contact with my worn bed knife, well, you can imagine when I put this thicker bed knife on here and tighten this, I'm not even going to be able to spin this reel. It's going to be super tight once I tighten this up. All right, so I am going to go ahead and I'm going to tighten all these up by hand really fast just to show you how tight this is going to be. And then I'll tell you where your problem is going to lie. Right now, if you look at the bed knife, it's really loose. Okay, I'm going to take a flathead and I'm going to tighten up these bed knife screws by hand. Okay, now what I want to show you, you can see, all right, these are all flush now. Okay, they're tight. Now, I cannot spin this reel. It's super tight, okay? And what most people will do, I don't want to say most, but some people will make this mistake. Now you're gonna go back here, and now you're gonna relieve your tension. I don't know if you can see this or not, but you'll start making your adjustments now to get this reel to spin and cut paper. Well, what's gonna happen once you make those adjustments and you get this reel to start to spin? Remember, this bed knife is so tight now, okay? When you take the tension off of this reel and it's cutting paper, you also took tension off of this bed knife, which means now these screws are going to be able to be driven in even farther. You follow? So if you do that and then you go out and cut, you now are going to have play in that bed knife. And it might not be a whole lot of play, and you might not even hear it or notice it by eye. But you took the tension off of that reel, the bed knife, and that bed knife will have play in it now. And that, even just the slightest vibration of that on the ground, is going to give you an imperfection in your cut. So what I want to show you now is I am going to loosen the back of the, I'm going to adjust the bed knife and take that tension off, and then I want to show you how these bolts loosened up. So I got the reel loose now, so I can spin it by hand, and you can hear I got some nice light contact. Now, if I were to keep adjusting this and to cut paper, I would send the unit out, but it's not going to cut right. And here's where the problem is. So now, earlier, I had tightened these bed knife screws as tight as I could with this. All right. Now I'm doing this for sake of the video. Now, if you look at these screws now, let's see. We'll go on this one. Now watch. Look at that. It turned. All right. Let's pick another one. Let's just say this one here. Turned. We'll go down to the end here. We'll take this one. Turned. So essentially the bed knife is still loose. Now, have you not went back and checked that, you would see in a regular pattern in your cut possibly. Maybe you won't the first day, but the next day and the next day, because then those screws will get looser and looser. So what you have to do now is go back, and now that I had retightened them, the reel is going to be hard to, it's already hard to turn again. So you can see how much play was still there after tightening those screws. So that might be one thing for you to check if you just did the bed knives on your mower and maybe it's been a couple days and now it's cutting weird. You're overlooking the screws, and next time you do the knives, take the tension off first, then put your knife on. After you tighten those screws up, you should be able to spin that reel. It shouldn't be super tight, but if it is super tight, go ahead and adjust it. But once it starts spinning, go back and tighten those screws up again before you start testing it to cut paper strips. All right, that's just my tip of the day. Hopefully this helps somebody out there, and I'll see you next time.